Hello, this is the RPG Pundit, the final boss at Internet Shitlords. And today, I'm having some work being done inside the house, some serious spring cleaning, you could say. And because of that, there's some chemical products being used to clean that I think, I don't know for sure, but I don't like my aged cat to be exposed to any of it. So we're spending the better part of the day outside so far. So I don't have any books to show you. Instead, you're just going to have to put up with watching Meatball all video long. I think somehow some of you aren't going to be particularly crushed by that. But don't forget that I do have a lot of books. You can find the links in the description below. My latest product is on the Red Room's Webstore, and it's the Pundit Files #1. And it is... Tables to Shake Up Your Campaign, which is a collection of random events that you can throw into a campaign when you want to up the action for it, basically. So be sure to check that out. And check out all my other products too. Sword and Caravan, Lion and Dragon, The Invisible College, Star Adventurer, and my settings like The World of the Last Sun, Dark Albion, and Sword and Caravan. And coming very soon, the game and setting combo Baptism of Fire. So check that out. But today, I am going to talk to you about something that's just come out as novelty for what's going to be in the upcoming new starter set for the One D&D edition. But first, I want to mention how, I think all of you know, I'm pretty much an unrepentant capitalist. I have very strong belief that capitalism is the best model we have for creating a prosperous society for as many people as possible. But within that, I have to make one important note that I personally, and I know that there's quite a few capitalists that don't agree with me on this, but in my case, I believe that the corporate entity, specifically the limited liability corporation, is an abomination. It's a distortion of capitalism, and it only causes problems with the actual free market, because as soon as you have this entity that gets declared a person, even though it's very clearly not a person, you also end up having people who essentially are liberated from having any skin in the game as far as success or failure. And there is no better example of that right now than Hasbro. Well, there might be a couple, maybe Disney, I don't know. But Hasbro is one hell of an example, because they have just had a really bad year in a series of really bad years. As I've mentioned before in my videos, Hasbro's stock value has dropped by more than half over the last 5 years. And yet, they just fired a whole bunch of people, 1,000 people more or less, a lot of them being basically working class people working at factories and things like that, but also some of the few remaining people that Wizards of the Coast even had that had any kind of inkling about design. And at the same time, you've got the bigwigs, the executives, who have no investment whatsoever in either Hasbro or its toys or Wizards of the Coast or its games, have given themselves massive bonuses, so that this year, after basically accomplishing nothing, CEO Chris Cox, Hasbro CEO, got himself $9.44 million. Deborah Thorne, the CFO, $6.06 million. And Cynthia Williams, the CEO of Wizards of the Coast, $6.55 million. And these are people who are basically mercenaries, right? Because that's one of the things that corporations create. It creates these people who are basically mercenary executives that it doesn't actually affect them in any way whether their company thrives or fails, right? They, in a perfectly legal ways, they can come in, run a company into the ground, take millions of dollars for themselves, and then just move on to the next one. It doesn't affect them, And they are clearly going to be continuing to do this with Wizards of the Coast and with D&D, because they've just can't come out with, and here's where we get into the gaming material, guys. So somebody make a note of it in the comments. Around 508, 509 is where I actually start talking about D&D itself. Are you eating something there, Meatball? Are you eating clover? Is that what that is? You know your food's out here, right? You don't need to do that. So anyways, they've just come out with a clip out of their new starter adventure, which is called Peril in Pinewood. Oh, scratching post. Scratching post, yes. She likes to scratch on wood. And Peril in Pinewood, first of all, that's a terrible name. It sounds like the title of some really crappy CalArts kids animation, well, pseudo kids animation show or something, like, one of those shows that is ostensibly marketed as a kids show, but is actually a show for ridiculous millennials. You're chewing on greenery there, Meatball. What are you doing? Is that delicious greenery? I guess you know what you're doing. You know that you're meant to be a carnivore, right? Anyhow, she was chasing a bird earlier. She almost caught it. She's still very, very spry for her age. So yeah, it sounds like a very bad title of some kind of a cartoon or something. And I'm guessing that probably the aesthetic is not going to be too different from that. That's just a guess. I haven't seen any of the art or anything like that, but I wouldn't be surprised at this point, But what we have seen is there's a section of text, actual text that is apparently in the adventure that, this is meant to be an introductory adventure for new players and new DMs and things like that. And it says that, it's wonderful for you as the DM to be this storyteller and adventure writer and whatever else, crafter of the adventure. But the one thing that can ruin that is if player characters have too hard a time. And so their advice is basically to the DM to just cheat, to just do whatever they want, right? And I don't mean like Rule Zero stuff. I mean like fudging dice stuff, So they say, if you find that your adventurers are in danger from a fight that's too hard for them, then just suddenly, for no reason, give the adventurers advantage on their attacks and the bad guys disadvantage, And in case there's anyone who still doesn't know what that means, advantage would mean that you'd roll 2d20 and pick the best one when you're attacking, and disadvantage means that they would roll 2d20 and pick the worst one when they're attacking. So it makes sure that nobody has to die in the adventure, because dying is somehow not fun in D&D, according to these people. And then it goes on to say that if that's still not working, then just have a dragon come in and attack the bad guys and then leave. Like, it just flies by and kills the bad guys. So this is the material that they are pushing for 1D&D. And of course, they have no idea what they're doing, right? That's just the nature of the industry. So these are people writing, these are probably some vegan cookbook writers, because I think that's all they have left there. They have a bunch of people left over from the Radiant Citadel that they're paying $10 an hour to type. And those people have no idea what they're doing, or what's the actual point of RPGs, or what's the actual fun in RPGs, right? An adventure where it's set up so you can't possibly lose is not actually fun, right? Like, that's like, I don't know, if you're playing, if you've got a video game, right, that's like, a one-armed bandit simulator, except that it pays off every single time, what's the point? Like, what would matter there, right? Like, if you're playing, poker, right, Texas Hold'em, except that the game is set up so you'll always have the best hand, how is that going to be in any way entertaining, And they're actually presenting this as instruction to the newfound players and DMs, as if there are going to be many. I don't think there will at this point. I think that the boom has happened in 5e, and that this is going to be a bust product, basically. So that's the deal, guys. You're going to have to excuse me one sec. Got people coming by. Bust. No, problem with filming in my alleyway here. So yeah, that's basically the thing. And I think that it shows just how low Wizards has gotten. It's also especially stupid in the context of their whole VTT plan, right? Because a VTT has to look more like a video game, and a video game has to have these hard elements to it. If not, how is that even gonna work? It's pretty ridiculous. I guess that's everything I wanted to say today. I wasn't sure, as I said in my previous video, if I was going to do another video before Christmas, but here you go. They keep bringing out news that captures my interest, so I keep doing it. But once again, to everyone, have a happy holidays. You never know, I might throw in something else tomorrow. Who knows? Yeah. Have fun, guys. And remember, if you want to make sure that Meatball is allowed back inside the house, then check out my products, all of my games. Although she certainly seems to be having a fun time looking at my neighbor's plants here. I'm glad that they don't mind. Anyways, that's everything for today. Currently smoking, I left it over there, but I was currently smoking an Italian red bark plus Argento Latakia. See you soon.